Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the second episode of Hey Mando, a podcast by two Star Wars fans, Ryan Ray and myself, Kyle Souza, about The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Ryan.
Kyle, real quick, if you're watching this on YouTube, the first episode is only audio. So it's an audio exclusive for our podcast listeners.
There you go. Subscribe to it somewhere. But if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to this YouTube channel to keep getting these and other great video content.
Maybe.
Videos. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not.
You know? I've done more on a maybe in life, so go for it. All right, now because it's Star Wars and you never start at the beginning of the story, our first episode here is about episode 4 of season 2, just like Lucas would have wanted. Because in something that will probably end up being a 50 chapter story, we're going to start with chapter 12, because that's what you start 1/3 into the story. You do the middle section, because that's the part that's the least important in any story, the middle. You go back to the beginning, and then you go to the end. Yeah. There's never any regrets that way.
We are the true Star Wars experts because we've waited this long to start. Like, all of the other pretenders started episode 1, season 1. Like, who does that?
They're just jumping on. They're like, oh, let's talk about this cool thing. No, we said, let's figure out if this is a cool thing and if we even want to talk about it and if it's worth talking about. And then we'll shout into the void.
Which I'm still up for debate over if it's not. If it was anyone else, I probably wouldn't do this show.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for lowering your standards for me.
Let me just show you, Kyle. Let me just show you, and for those listening, what we're doing season 2.
Episode 4.
Episode 4, chapter 12.
Yes.
Which makes confusing as all get out. Okay. So if you go to the 18-minute mark, and I'm going to put this on the YouTube so if people can see it. Here, let me turn my screen share on. If you just go to show, you will see what I'm talking about here. Okay. Kyle, can you see the screen here?
I can. Wait, I have a question. Yes. Are you allowed to do this, or is this like copyright infringement?
This is fair use.
Fair use. Great. Let's do it.
There we go. You ready?
I'm all about fair.
This is the problem. See if you can pick out my problem with Mandalorian, and here it is.
Hurry up. Purge the drive. Destroy it.
Did you catch it?
It was all black for me.
It
went to all black. I couldn't see it. No, like it's showing me what's supposed to be a video.
Communist propaganda.
But for some reason, it's all black.
Okay, so just to break it through, so it's the scene where they're running into right before they.
See, I saw that. I see the little preview video, but as soon as you hit play, I got nothing.
I wonder if Disney's got it blocked.
Hurry up! Purge the drive.
Okay, so it's the scientists in front of the tanks.
Right, and so if you watch it. So I'll pause.
Hurry up! Purge the drive.
So right here, okay, there they are coming around the corner with their guns up. Right. Can you see
right. So it's is this about the guy in the jeans? Is that your problem?
No. But just look. So there they are with their guns up. Right. Okay. Then we cut to the people looking. Then we cut back, and it's the same shot. Them around the corner, their guns are down, and they better raise their guns. That is the epitome of this show. That's some, like, it gives you weird shots, weird storylines, and things that just don't necessarily. It's like, okay, I know Carl Weathers directed this episode. I'm not hating on Carl. Maybe he's got a long directing career, but could we not edit that to where you don't show the same clip literally seconds apart?
That makes me wonder. I want to see if Carl Weathers does, in fact, direct a lot of things, because I was like, oh, he did a pretty good job for his first time. It did not occur to me that this wasn't his first time directing something. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go on IMDb real quick.
And wait for that. It's not. I mean, listen. It's not in the world.
He has directed 13 things, including this episode.
I can't imagine they were much better than this. It's not the end of the world, but it is. It's like, okay, Disney, you can't edit that a little bit better where you show the same shot. I understand the second shot is a close up, but they already had their guns up in the first scene. And so then you go back to them having their guns down. And to me, that's kind of the editing is kind of
Yeah.
the choppiness that we see throughout this series. And this episode embodied that for me, Kyle. It's like, okay, you teased Ahsoka and you give me Nevarro.
Well, so as soon as we heard about Ahsoka, I knew there was going to be at least one episode.
Spoiler alert.
In between when we see it. They're starting with episode 4 of season 2. I'm not sure how concerned they are with spoilers, but yes.
This is the perma spoiler alert for the rest of the podcast that we record ever. We will never say that word again.
No, we should say it every episode, especially if we talk about any of the movies that have been around for decades. We should be like, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Okay, spoiler alert. There it is. That's your one for the entire series that we record.
There we go. So I knew there was going to be at least the episode where they say Ahsoka or hint at her, then the episode where he's going to find her, and then the episode where he actually finds her. At a minimum, the story of finding Ahsoka Tano is a 3-episode arc. I
thought they would have found her at the end of this episode. So I knew he had to go on a mission because he has to go on a mission every episode. Like,
no, I think to your point.
Good.
Yeah, to your point in our first audio only episode, this show redefines slow burn to a caricature of what a slow burn is.
Why is that, you think?
I think it's a mixture of wanting to cash in as much as possible on as little story as possible. Okay. I think also they're having fun with it and they just want to have fun with things. And so they can keep doing these side missions and have fun with those. And I think that they don't also know exactly where they're going to end up.
Right.
So they're just like, oh, we'll do this. Now we'll do this. Hey, let's figure it out.
Well, okay. And that's my, so episode 1, season 1, I thought, here we go. We're setting up for something big. And then episode 2, season 1, I was like, oh no, like this is what it's going to be. Like start, stop. And that's kind of, and so through season 1, I've kind of hit or miss on how I felt about them. And season 2 has kind of been the same thing. Start, stop. And I don't think that plays well in modern 2020 TV. I think season 1 did well because you had Baby Yoda or the child, and that carries you a long way. And the child's still cool. He's still cute and cuddly and all that. But at this point, it's like, okay, the child's peaked as far as what he can and can't do. He's not going to be raising ships out of the water. And so he can add some comic relief every episode. But we need, we know he has powers. He can move with his mind. So it's kind of there for comic relief now. That's all the child can really offer. And to some sympathy with maybe softening the Mandalorian up. But, if you've watched the other Star Wars canon, you have some questions about what Ahsoka can actually offer or what she might say. And those are actually pressing questions that go to Nevarro and trying to blow up this Imperial base. Now, they did add a twist. We're talking about, I know, but like, I would much rather hear what Ahsoka has to say than what we watched the last episode, minus after that clip ended, the 10 seconds of information we got. And the payoffs to me aren't really worth the build up. If I enjoy the show, but generally speaking, they build up to something and the payoff really doesn't consistently land.
I think that they are trying to kind of mimic real life, and a lot of real life, our days are 24 hours long and we make use of 16 to 20 of those hours. And most of it is minutia. And then there's, a little bit of exciting, cool stuff for most people. I watch a lot of TV and have small children, so mine's nonstop action and adventure. But for most people, it's a lot of minutia. And then, just a little bit of something. And maybe they're trying to mimic that, where they're like, no, let's make this more realistic. Maybe they've gone too realistic with the storyline.
Okay, so let's maybe pick up at the beginning of this episode. So he's on Nevarro because he needs to get his ship fixed, which got
Yes.
a few episodes back, which we'll talk about when we do that episode in the future. So back.
Yes. We will talk about the past and the future.
Yes.
And then we will then talk about the future after that.
Yes.
Further into the future.
Our Back to the Future episodes, which are not about the movie, but the show, are yet to be recorded because it's back to the future. So anyways, so
you want to watch the episodes in release order, but we talk about them in hatchet order.
Exactly. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you have nothing better to do with your life. And so
that's wow. What about people watching this podcast, though?
They really have.
Those are some primo people.
We love you. All of you.
We do. All of you.
Out of our heart. All three of you.
Thank you. Thanks to both of you.
Especially
Mama. Thank you so much, Mama.
We love you. Okay, so he goes to Nevarro, and as soon as he gets off the ship, they're like, hey, we gotta go talk business. And it's like, oh, gracious. No.
All right, so I have a problem with the timing of this because they say, oh, these repairs are going to take so long.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no. I couldn't hear what you said because
they should release them all on one day so we can binge them. I agree.
Oh, that time. No, I meant timing within the episode. So I'm trying to make use of my hands for everybody on the video. So I don't know what to do with my hands. No. So he lands the ship and they're like, wow, this is in bad shape. They make a big deal about how bad shape it is. And he's like, well, we need to talk business. And he's like, I'm just here for repairs. We're like, well, that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently it takes like 3 hours because by the end of the episode, it's flying just fine.
Right.
And he's defeating, multiple TIE fighters.
And the child is still at school, presumably.
And the child is what? Oh, in school. Yes.
I mean, that's an important time point.
Yes. So he finishes. So sometime before school lets out for the day, he gets there late. They check in so he doesn't get marked tardy or absent. Just tardy.
I'd be up to date with modern schooling practices. They may have long hours.
Maybe. I mean, it's probably not overnight though. I wouldn't think.
I mean, the sun never set, so we don't know.
The sun never sets. The sun never sets on Nevarro.
It never did. I don't know. It just never did. That's all I'm saying.
So so that's one of the things that I have problems with this episode. And I promise this entire podcast series is not going to just be complaining about it. But you know what? We complain because we love it.
No.
Okay.
Mainly complaining. I complain because I don't love it. You complain because you love it.
I complain because I want it to do better.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. It's like when I criticize my dog. It's because I want him to do better.
So the time doesn't bother me necessarily. I get your point. I didn't catch that. That's why you're the Jedi Master. I'm the Padawan learner.
That's great. I didn't catch that whole shot thing you were talking about.
Well, I mean, I am a film critic, so.
No.
I mean, I've got like 3 subscribers on my YouTube channel, so.
We all have our faults.
We all have our faults. No, I it just stood out to me. It's one of those things like, wait, what? I didn't catch that, man. That's a good point. The letdown was at the end of the episode when he has to go back and get the child. There was no payoff there.
Yeah, there was no battle. He apparently just went in and was like, I'm here for the child. And they're like, okay, sir, have a nice day.
Please send Baby Yoda down to the principal's office. Like it was like I was expecting like guns blazing, someone holding the child on a speeder. It was nothing. Like
Moff Gideon with the dark saber to his throat.
Right. Moff Gideon wasn't even on the planet.
No.
So I understood his okay, let's get that in a minute. So yes, I think there's some the time thing doesn't necessarily bother me necessarily. I get your point. I think it's very, very true. More of, again, they build the things that don't really pay off, and so you don't know, because on some level they're building the Mandalorian to be a superhuman. Like he is Iron Man.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's so when he's like Iron Man and Batman, like he knows all the moves and he has the armor to protect him. But his instincts, like with that, you're expecting because he thinks it's going to happen, something's going to be true. And not only does it not happen, he ends up figuring out that this didn't happen. In this case, the child being taken. but guess what? TIE fighters are going to come take my friends down, so I better get back and protect them somehow. Like, and it just, it's okay. As an aside, when they're in the speeder racing back to the town and they're like, we're almost there, did they think the TIE fighters were like, hey, listen, fellas, okay, they're back at town now. We better cut off the pursuit.
Well, I'm hoping that there were some defenses at the town where they had, some repeating blasters or something set up.
They didn't fire though.
No. Apparently they didn't. But I was thinking like, a medium repeating blaster, like we see in like the Battle of Endor set up or something. Like nothing big, not like any ion cannons or any of that stuff, but something as a town defense, because I think the town needs some defense.
Well, if you're going to say that there's TIE fighters, which okay, another thing that I didn't understand. This apparently was in like the only bad region of Nevarro, right?
Well, that one base was the only bad region.
Yeah. Because if you wipe that out, the planet was going to be basically a bastion of virtue, right?
Yes, which is a whole continuity issue with the first season, but
right, yeah. Exactly. But that aside, well, you have the marshal cleaning out bars, and she's going to Mos Eisley's and just wiping them out. But that aside, the base. I
think there's only one down.
Okay, that might be the whole deal. But that aside. The base was literally like a 5-minute drive. Like, I mean, like they
not on the map. On the map, it was like on the other side of the planet.
I know. But when they're coming out in the speeder, like they have a little canyon run, right? Okay, that's 30 seconds, and then they have 30 seconds across the wide open where the TIE fighters can't hit them, and then they're back. And I'm adding to make it feel good.
Yeah, distance has always been a problem. For time and distance have always been a problem in the Star Wars universe.
Well, right, but it's not believable if it's a 4-hour chase, so either.
Yes. Oh yeah, that would not work. That'd be exhausting.
Right. So I'm saying like, even if you said like in episode 4 when they go to Alderaan, it's like 2 weeks or something like that. They don't show it, but you can't say that chase was longer than 5 minutes max, because I don't know how much film time it was, but you can't add much more time to it because the TIE fighter eventually gets them.
Yeah, I would say maybe 15 minutes tops. If I had to go like absolute tops, 15 minutes. But no, because you're right, it's got to be shorter than that, because the base blows up. Mm-hmm. And there was a 10-minute timer on the base blowing up, and the TIE fighters lift off as it blows up. Mm-hmm. And then TIE fighters are faster than speeder bikes. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I mean, it's not a long chase. It's not good. It's not good mapping. Yeah. They need a GIS specialist on staff.
If only there was one who had a podcast who could help them.
Yeah, they need somebody with some logistics background. Wait, me?
Yeah, I mean,
I have done GIS mapping for the people listening and watching out there. So that's just geographic information systems. But computerized mapping, which we saw, which I love the fact that they're using these terrible graphics for the targeting computers and these globe maps and everything. I love it.
They have to.
They do, because they can't show how outdated the original movies were.
Right.
But at the same time, that's just not how we're progressing in our life. Like if Facebook could make a 3D projection of a planet, it would not be a vaguely topographic layout of the planet. It would be 3D with like skyscrapers and mountains and everything.
Right. One of the questions I had about this episode was, if they knew that base was there, they didn't discuss that when the Mandalorian got there in season 1, did they?
No, in fact, so that's one of my biggest issues with this episode, is the continuity that it brings up with episode 1, because he gets there and like he meets the client and he's like, oh, these guys are Imperials, and he's talking to Carl Weathers' character. He's like, these guys are Imperials, and he's like, yeah, I know, but they pay. It's like, why are you surprised that there's Imperials here if they have a base on the planet?
On the planet.
That'd be me. I don't know, being like, did you know that there's people from Houston here? I live just outside Houston. For everybody who does not know my life,
In the U.S., Houston, Texas, in the U.S.
yeah. So I
China
live
or Africa or South America, like the Houston in Texas.
Yes, Houston, Texas. Yes, and for me to be like, oh, there's Houstonians here. It's like, yeah, of course they live 15 minutes away.
Right.
Of course they're here.
Yes, I didn't understand that. I have to go back and watch the episode, but and it really, I don't know if you call it a secret base or not. I mean, I guess it is kind of off the beaten path per se, but once you pull up, it wasn't like hidden by a hologram or something like that. Like there's obviously something going on here. The local mining company probably didn't throw this together. This is a big time operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess satellites in the Star Wars universe. I mean,
they have to have them,
right? So, like,
I just can't remember any.
And so you would think that the satellites could have picked this up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they knew it was there. They had the red dot on the map.
Right. So you would think like the Mandalorians should have known because it had been uploaded to the ship. But let's not get too far. We're but so the Mandalorian, first off, he's got to learn to say no. Am I right? Like, he says yes to everybody.
Well, okay, first off, he's a bounty hunter. So, like, he's predisposed to saying yes.
Well,
also, maybe he likes improv. And also, these are his friends, and they're helping him out with the ship. And I think he just feels obligated. And also, he hates Imperials. Imperials killed his parents. Imperials forced his people away from their homeworld. Imperials slaughtered his culvert there on Nevarro. He hates Imperials. So I think he's just always up for attacking Imperials.
But it feels like either they are, from the creator standpoint, either they're just using this as a tool for every week he's going to go on a mission. That gets kind of repetitive. I think it's already is a little bit repetitive.
Yes. I think he'll go on a mission every week.
What's that?
I think he'll go on a mission every week, just like CSI has a new crime to solve every week.
But
I think it's gonna be like that.
Same employee, like, hey, we need your help. Come on, like it has to be something more than that. The missions he goes on are rarely forced upon him. He usually it's like Mission Impossible every week. Like he gets a little tape, he's got 5 seconds, and he accepts. And at some point, the child is changing him. You think it seems. At some point, he has to turn down the missions. He might all that in a few episodes back when he wouldn't continue on with the other Mandalorians. He had to go on, so he kind of said, "No, I can't do this. I need to go back and finish what I started." So
yes,
kind of there somewhat, but
he also didn't like them.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a loner.
Yeah,
bit of a loner. So I don't know. I think if this week coming up on Friday. Are they got one coming out on Friday after Thanksgiving?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so if there's one this week on after Friday, and it's literally, hey, Mando, sorry, shameless plug. Can you come help us, with this thing? And he's like, yes, I can. Let me leave the child here. He's like, oh, not again. If it's Moff Gideon attacking him and it's forced upon him, that's different. And so you see, it's one thing if it's always him being offered and always him responding yes. It's another thing if it's a kind of a better mix of, sometimes it's forced upon him and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, I think that the next episode is going to be either him on his way to the planet where Ahsoka is, or the moon, where Ahsoka is, and something happening that's diverting him. He hits a gravity well and gets pulled out of hyperspace, and then has to fight the Imperials because they're tracking him. Though, also they put the beacon on him, right? They put the tracking beacon on his ship, but we see that it isn't until Star Wars Episode 8 that the First Order has developed and perfected their tracking while in hyperspace, right? So I think that's the first time.
Episode 6. Episode 5, when they track the Falcon to Cloud City.
Well, in 4, they track the Falcon to Yavin. That's right, but they can't track them in hyperspace, so they can't pull people out of hyperspace. They have to wait till he's out of hyperspace and they go, "Oh, that's where he is."
Yes. Okay. Yeah. You're right. On the page.
Yeah. Sorry, it's I'm really bad at explaining hyperspace travel.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, I'll work on it. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the same page. So whenever he stops at, they will be able to then figure out how far they're away and then go there.
Right. And then zoom to him. So I think either something's going to happen there, or he'll get to the planet and someone's going to be like, "Oh yeah, I could take you to Ahsoka, but before I help you, I need you to help me." And then he has to do something for them, and then they'll take him to Ahsoka. And we get to see like her back at the last second of the episode.
How does they do that, Kyle? We might have a 3 podcast run. That might be it. So let me ask you this. Let's get to the big thing. No. We don't want to do the big thing.
Okay.
No. We don't get the big thing. There's a couple of things I was just curious about. This is your show. I'll ask you this and then I'll shut up. The Alderaan line at the end. I don't think Gina Carano is that great of an actress, to be quite honest with you. I think she's pretty stiff. I don't know if she's supposed to be. I know she's a soldier, but I don't. Most of her stuff is.
I think she's supposed to be stiff, but also she might supposed to be stiff because she is stiff.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I like the nuance there. She's some of her lines are really bad. Like, and when the speeder pulls up and she's like, "What are you guys waiting for? An invitation?" It's like, "Oh, shoot me now." Like that's, get in. That's all you got to say. Like, come on. But anyways, so some of her lines are bad, but the whole "my family died on Alderaan," it just landed flat with me. What did you think?
I thought it was going to be shorter. I thought, because as soon as he's like, "Did you lose anybody?" I thought she was going to be like, "Everybody." Like the whole planet died. Like everybody. How do you not know that I lost everybody?
Well, they could have been off planet. They do have spaceships that travel from planet to planet.
Oh yeah, they do have that.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay, so there's that. But even if her family didn't immediately die, she's the kind of person that would say she lost everybody, like just to be a jerk to them.
Obviously, like duh.
I'm not calling her a liar or anything. I'm just saying that she would be like everybody, just to be like the tough guy. Right.
I lost the whole planet, jerk. Like
yes, yeah, that thing. So I don't know. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was terrible. Maybe I'm not as critical as you.
No, I don't. At this point, I'm not sure what I'm pulling for or what I'm rooting for, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, you okay. Up until this episode, I felt pretty good. Like, hey, Baby Yoda, he's team good guy. This episode kind of changes that. But
wait, this episode changes that he's team good guy.
I think it's in question, right?
Well, I was thinking that 2 episodes ago.
Okay. Okay, we're not Back to the Future, okay? We're not talking about Hannibal Lecter, okay? That's for a future date to be. Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Yes. So, his blood got used in an experiment in this episode, or we find out about it in this episode. But he wasn't like complicit.
No.
But before we get to that, let's get to Cara. Before we do that. Oh, when he steals the cookies.
No.
He's just being a kid.
It was okay. We'll
okay. Cara Dune. Let's talk about Cara Dune first. Okay. I think they wanted to give her an out for the series because she's been getting in trouble on Twitter with some people.
Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of her character's possible way out of the series. For going and joining the
brothers.
The what are they called? The new Republic.
Okay. But she didn't take it.
Well, he left his medal. It looked like a Medal of Honor that Blue had received, right? Which I'm not sure if his name is Blue or if he's flying with Blue Squadron, but she calls him Blue. So it looked like a Medal of Honor he received, I'm guessing, for the Battle of Alderaan. And he leaves it there for her, I'm guessing, as a reminder that she's not alone and that there's something bigger worth fighting for. Than you're on the planet.
Doubt that they're going to play that Mandalorian's pinned down and the Blue Squadron comes to save them, and she's like the leader of Blue Squadron or something like that.
Yeah, though she's not a pilot, though.
Don't let the facts, Kyle.
Don't. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story, right?
She flew the ship in this episode.
She did. She did drive the
sled off the cliff.
Yeah. Which also, I love that we got to see a couple things about that scene. And then I'll get back to your bad guy, the child. Okay. But we had the speeder bikes, right? We got to see some classic stormtrooper ineptitude with the scout troopers just crashing and burning before they even get off the side of the mountain. We also got to see them like good at their job with the two that flanked them. And then one got crushed, but one was able to get on top. And they had a plan. But one thing that I really liked is when the one pointed the pistol at Gina there, or Cara Dune, as the character is, it was a disruptor pistol, which is what they carried in Empire Strikes Back. Scout troopers aren't issued the regular Imperial rifles. They're issued disruptor pistols as their standard issue weapon, and they stayed consistent with that. I really appreciated that.
Well, Gith Guardian is a Palpatine loyalist.
Yes.
And so, okay.
So the child here.
But hold on, you said something there I want to touch on.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was now. It was a really good point, and I was impressed. And
the scout troopers' ineptitude or being good at the job.
That was one of the problems I have with the thing was when the scout troopers went past Carl Weathers. I can't remember his character's name. He acted like he couldn't turn to catch up to them. It felt like the way they were shooting it, he would go left and go right because he saw them go past.
Yeah.
And then at the very last end, he turns it all the way around and blows him off. It's like, well, the whole time you couldn't just turn it around?
Well, he could. He'd go all the way around. But the problem is that he's, his gun's on top of a ship. He can't shoot anything that's not in front of the gun in a certain right. Because if you've got the gun, it's got to
turn it around to the side to look.
Well, he can turn around to the side, but he's got a limited range.
I understand, but he's never turned to look. That's all.
Oh. Well, I think he knew, they went past me. They're going to the front. I think he knew where they went.
So then why not just turn around to the front and just stay there?
Well, I was like, oh, she's going to hit the brakes. They're going to shoot forward, and he's going to pow, pow. We're going to get some big pew-pews out of this. And no, we got no pew-pews.
I thought that. Okay. So, no, okay. You've cleared it up once again. Okay.
I'm sorry. Wait, did I mess you up?
Yeah. No. That's perfect. My was on the child that they were getting Palpatine's blood and infusing that into the child.
Oh, no. They were taking blood out of the child and infusing that into these clones or subjects. I shouldn't even call them clones because I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a failed Snoke clone. I'm not convinced of that.
Hold on, look, can we listen to the clip here?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
Highly doubt we'll find a donor with a higher. There were promising effects for an entire fortnight, but then, sadly, the body rejected the blood. I highly doubt we'll find a donor with a higher M count, though. I recommend that we suspend all experimentation. I fear that the volunteer will meet the same regrettable fate if we proceed with the transfusion. Unfortunately, we have exhausted our initial supply of blood. The child is small, and I was only able to harvest a limited amount without killing him. If these experiments are to continue as requested, we would again require access to the donor. I will not disappoint you again, Moff Gideon.
So they're taking blood from the child, and we're infusing those into subjects. Okay. And the M count being midichlorians, but you don't use the M word around Star Wars fans.
Right. Well, they might, yeah. Okay, I misunderstood it. I thought the child was one of the subjects, and they were needing more from the donor, and the donor was Palpatine. I misunderstood.
Oh, no.
Okay, I thank you for clearing that up because I was thinking oh my gosh, we've got another Palpatine clone coming up in the Star Wars universe. Let's go. Let's go. Because that would fix some of the problems with Rey. Like, Baby Yoda is a little Palpatine. I'm ready for some lightning out of the fingers. Let's go.
We may
You
still get
ruined
that.
it,
I don't think he's a
Kyle.
Palpatine, though.
You have ruined this for me. Like, I was imagining like Baby Yoda getting pissed in 3 episodes and just straight lightning coming out and murking folks. Okay.
He does a full turn from Gizmo to Gremlin. Just
It's still possible. Okay. It's still
it
possible.
is.
You've heard it
It
here.
is. I mean, he was force choking. Like,
Yes,
he's got
you
a dark
heard it here
side.
first. Baby Yoda, the child, is a Palpatine. I'm going on the record with my theory right there.
I'm going to bet against that, and we'll see. We'll see who comes out ahead there in 7 years when this is over.
Okay, so I'm a little bummed. I thought he's a Palpatine. Like, I missed that key three words there.
Now, I think that Moff Gideon is trying to create super soldiers by infusing them with force-sensitive people's blood to get them to become force-sensitive. I think that that's what he's trying to do.
See, I thought they were going with hey, we're going to explain Palpatine's been working on clones this whole time, and this is where we're going to start weaving that in. You don't think that's what's going on?
No, I think that they might get into cloning, but Palpatine with cloning, he did a bad job. Because also, when you clone yourself, why do you grow the oldest version of yourself as a clone?
He wanted
you have a young version of yourself.
Strapping in.
And if you can transfer consciousness from one clone to another, which is a whole nother like moral and ethical minefield, which I know the
Palpatine's way past that, bro.
Yes, but they're both Palpatine. If you have Palpatine Prime and Palpatine Clone 1, they're both Palpatine. Like, they've been cloned.
Yes, but the ethical problems are not Palpatine's to deal with. Like you're concerned about it. Palpatine's not.
Okay, I'm concerned. But, like, how does the clone, who's the younger version, not kill the old Palpatine? Like,
too. It has to be that way.
It's there can only be one. It's the Star Wars, the Highlander. That's going to be the next movie to come out.
Okay, so my Palpatine Baby Yoda theory, I'm going to say it just because I said it now and I've got down that hill. However, it seems unlikely. So, what is the child then? How do they find the child?
Oh, I think that the child is the son of Yoda and Yaddle. That's who I think the child is.
If that's true, then like they just keep denigrating what we saw in the original Clone Wars, not the original Clone Wars, the prequels.
Yes, which I know Jedi are not supposed to mate, but they have made exceptions. Okay, there are exceptions. I'm sorry?
In lore or in canon?
In canon, they have made exceptions to Jedi whose species spawn very rarely or are in danger of extinction.
Now, where is this at?
So, I don't think it's a.k.a. Mundi. Give me a moment to look him up. Members of the Jedi Council.
Like a comic book? Is this like a book? Like a show you made up in your head?
Let's see. No, it's from one of the books. Oh, it is a.k.a. Mundi. That's who I'm thinking of. a.k.a. Mundi. Sorry, I rattle things off. He's a Sarian from Saria with a binary brain. Blah blah blah. His race only spawns like once every 100 years. And so he's allowed to go make babies every once in a while. But I'm going to let me do some quick research on my phone while we're here.
Well, while you're looking that up, so one of the things that I understand about Lucas is Lucas said that Yoda doesn't have a species, right? Like he's speciesless. Like, and so to define what Yoda is not within Lucas's framework, which obviously doesn't matter anymore because Disney. I was trying to put it politely, but if Baby Yoda is Yoda's child, Yoda's a bad dad for not like force vision with him or something.
Yeah. So well, and maybe he's not. Maybe Yoda's not his dad, but I'm confident that Yaddle is his mom because we only see Yaddle in Episode 1, Phantom Menace, and then she's gone. And in Legends, Yaddle was awesome. Like Yaddle gave Yoda a run for his money, and he actually was not a big fan of bringing her onto the council, and that made a lot of people think that Yoda was jealous of Yaddle.
You watch your mouth.
And it looks like I am confusing Legends with canon. It looks like it is a Legends comic storyline where because the Sarians do have children so rarely that's where he was allowed to go propagate his species. So it looks like that's Legends.
Podcast is not relevant.
I'm sorry.
Not any of the podcast is relevant, but particularly the last 3 minutes.
Well, it's good, but see, they keep bringing Legends stuff and making it canon. So it's a maybe. It's a maybe.
Maybe, like to say.
Yeah.
Maybe. So you think Yoda, the child is Yaddle's child?
Yes.
Based upon that, either it's a Force baby, or Yoda's the daddy, or there's another Yaddle Yoda thing out there that we haven't seen. Those are really the only possibilities, right?
Yes. In fact, well, there could be a bunch. In other.
Well, listen, Yaddle and Mace Windu, if they had a baby, it probably don't look like that. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, it would not look like that. But we see in like Rebels where, hey, a species that they thought was basically extinct has a secret colony.
That's what I just said. There's other Yodas out there that we don't know about.
Yeah, there could be a whole planet of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying we don't know about them. So it's either Yoda's the daddy, it's a Force baby, or there's other Yodas we don't know about. Right. That's the 3 options, right?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Yes. Where there's a planet, a galaxy, a universe, there's at least one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Yaddle's the mama.
I think so. That's what I think. I think Yaddle's the mama. I think that's why we never saw her. So maybe. Okay. Wow. This could get real dark in this. Imposing our current political and Western values onto the Star Wars universe.
A long time it's happened.
But I think Yaddle was taken off the council because she got pregnant. That's what I think.
Conspiracy theory. Okay.
Yeah. Or they found out that she had given it. Because that's the other thing. Is they're like, and this goes back to Episode 1 when it was like, the signal is 50 years old. I don't think the child's 50 years old. Maybe the child was in an egg 50 years ago. Maybe they were originally tracking the child's parent, and then that parent died, and now we have the child. And I think the child's more like 20 or 30.
Non-Star Wars wizards out there, which if they've listened this long, they've got to be like diehard Star Wars fans.
Yes.
However, for the few that aren't, episodes Mandalorian is 40 years after Episode 1. Is that right? Roughly?
Is it even that long? It might be less. Because it's in 9 ABY.
We got to think Episode 1, Anakin's 10. By the end of 3, he's 20, right?
20? I think it was older than that.
Which at least 10 years between 1 and 3 is all I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, at least.
And then it's how long between 10 and 6, 3 and 6? Luke's how old in 4? 16.
So 23 years old is how old Anakin is. So Episode 3 takes place. Oh, I'm sorry, not 16. He's 19.
Okay.
So
you
episode
13 years, 19 years between. So that's it.
So that's 19 BBY from Episode 3 to Episode 4. That's before the Battle of Yavin. So 19 BBY, and now we're 9 ABY. So it's 28 years from Episode 3. And so Anakin was 9 in Episode 1. So that'd make it 32 years from episode 1 to now.
And this thing's 50 years old.
Right.
So that's 18 years before we've seen anything on the screens.
See, that's what I don't, which they really screwed up that timeline. Sorry, I just hit my table here for everybody listening, which is everyone. Sorry for that mic noise. But they really screwed up the time. I have grown more and more frustrated with the timeline in between episode 3 and episode 4. Has grown increasingly frustrating to me how much Obi-Wan ages and how Luke Skywalker is like, you served in the Clone Wars? That'd be like me going like, you served in the second Desert Storm? Or somebody being like, you were around when 9/11 happened? Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. Like, how old do you, how young do you think I am?
If you ask a 20-year-old, my brother is born in 2000. You know, for him, 9/11, I mean, it happened, but it's not like it happened.
No, but if you so Luke knew that Obi-Wan was old, right? And then he was surprised though that he was around for the Clone Wars. So that'd be like asking someone that is clearly old enough to have been there.
Yeah, hold on.
And then being surprised that they
Let
were
me
there.
rephrase this. If you asked a 20-year-old, if a 20-year-old was sitting at Starbucks next to you, social distance with a mask on, or whatever the proper thing to say is these days. Okay, that will date us in 100 years. They'll be like, "Oh my God, these guys were around when COVID was happening.
They were around before everybody wore masks all the time."
Yes. Yeah. When it's a colony of Darth Vaders out there. Anyways, if some little whippersnapper sitting down and the news flash pops up and goes, looking back on Y2K, what happened 20 years ago as we get into 2021? And he looks over to you. This is a 20-year-old kid. And he says, hey, man, were you around when that happened? You'd be like, you literally just heard them say 20 years ago.
Yes.
Like, the math didn't compute. Like, oh, well, yeah, but like, that was really a thing? Because Y2K is not talked about anymore.
Right. But I guess I think about things like that when I think about Y2K was only 20 years ago. Yeah. And I remember that.
I know because you lived through it though. What I'm saying is
I'm saying if I meet somebody in their 70s, I assume they were in Nam. Before,
you're a nomist. Okay. I get it. Okay. I got it. You're a nomist. Okay.
I'm not assuming that they wanted to be there, but
okay, you're a nomist. Listen, I got it. Well,
I'm just saying, I would assume.
Okay. Right. But Nam is something we talk about all the time. That's the difference.
Okay.
That's why I'm distinguishing Y2K versus 9/11. No one talks about Y2K anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the people who bought into it don't want to talk about it, and the people who didn't buy into it never cared to talk about it to begin with. And so, I think there's probably other things. So, like if you said, I mean, refer like this: if you said, if some kid asked, "Where were you when?" Do you remember Bill Clinton being impeached? That'd be kind of weird, right? Because you're old enough. But if they called out a random piece of legislation that was signed in the 90s, they'd be like, oh, you're lying for that? Like, well, yeah, it was signed in 93. And I was like, well. So I think the point is that for huge events, they are talked about. But, if you go to China right now, hello to the China listeners, they do not know about Tiananmen Square. They don't, it's censored. It didn't happen as far as they're concerned. And so,
but that's not a point of pride. I would think that the Emperor, who orchestrated the Clone Wars and then won the Clone Wars, would always be like, I guess you don't have to be like, well, Palpatine, he won the Clone Wars. But I guess that is one thing that I don't think about because of the free society that I live in. Air quotes for everybody listening. I don't think about. Yeah, I don't think about what happens when the government tells you or doesn't tell you that something happened or tells you actively that something didn't happen and how powerful that can be.
Mm-hmm.
That is true.
If you go back to episode 4, it's not entirely clear from my perspective.
Wait. Mandalorian season 2, episode 4, season 1, episode 4, or Star Wars episode 4?
Any of them.
A New Hope.
Any of them.
Any of them. This applies to all episode 4s.
Episode 4s.
If you go to Seinfeld episode 4,
Yes,
no,
exactly. This is it. But if you go back to A New Hope, it's not entirely clear from my perspective that Luke actually understands what he wants to do in the beginning of the movie versus what he ends up doing at the end of the movie. Because he wants
oh
to
no, he
be
does
captain,
not.
right? And
Yeah.
so I'm not entirely clear, but it seems like he wants to go for the Empire.
Yeah.
And then, like, within 30 minutes, Obi-Wan's like Clone Wars. He's like, yeah, rebellion, let's go. Like, you know?
Well, the Empire was a legitimate form of government that rose to power through a vote, right?
Well, let's not. That will be a hey, Mando. We will dig deep in. We're going deep on that one, okay? But I'm just saying, like, this dude literally went from I'm gonna go fight a TIE fighter to let's go blow up the Death Star in like 3 minutes after.
Okay. But in that time period, they murdered his aunt and uncle, his surrogate.
No, when
parents.
he meets Obi-Wan, he wants to go fight with the. He wants to go.
No, because he even reacts with, I can't do that. I've got a moisture farm. I can't go with you.
But
and then he realizes, like, oh no, they tracked the droids. And then he goes home and he's like, no, Aunt Beru lost 180 pounds because now she's literal skin, no bone, or literal bones, no skin.
No. He doesn't say on principle. Listen, how dare you, you commie? Let me tell you.
Okay, no, not on principle.
I am a allegiance to the Palpatine and the Empire and all that stuff. I am going to fight for the rest of my life for these guys. He's like, well, technically, I got stuff to do, but he's not like against the rebellion, you know. So that's all I'm saying.
No, but I mean that's every teenager. I don't know exactly how you were in your teenage years just because we didn't know each other then, but like I knew so many teenagers that had anarchy symbols everywhere and were like, you know, screw the police and everything. But now they're generally law-abiding citizens that want the police around.
Which is why it shouldn't surprise you that he asks, you were around the Clone Wars? Kids are dumb.
Okay.
Love all the kids out here. Love all the kids out here. I was a little aggressive. I have 4 of my own. So I'm speaking from experience. And I was a kid a long time ago for you young whippersnappers out there. But I'm just saying, like, kids say and do dumb things. Like, I can chalk that up to that.
Okay, I promised in the last episode not to get political, so I'm not going to call you any modern presidential name.
But I'll just say this finally, just on the Luke deal. How many people, you talk about anarchy people that you go to high school with who are rebellious and then literally go to the military? Like they spent their high school days.
A lot of them,
right,
yes.
Right. And so
most of my friends in high school went to the military, all 3 of them. Yeah.
That's an aggressive number for you. I'm just saying.
Well, 2 of them were brothers, so it was really easy.
Okay,
it was a 2-for-1 special.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, wait. The guy who got in trouble all through high school is going to fight people to keep people from doing things that wait. So I think life is full of just weird, and I can let a lot of stuff go. But I can't let go. And some of this other stuff. And so that's what drives me crazy. But I don't know. Can the Mandalorian's armor actually ever be pierced? For the love, like I feel like at some point we're gonna have an ion cannon, like you saw in episode 8 of the main thing, and like they're gonna be boring through the wall, and like Mandalorian's gonna walk there, and it's just like refract back across the world and kill Kylo Ren and Darth Maul. Spoiler alert, he's back. But anyways, yeah, I feel like that's gonna happen.
Yes, Beskar can be compromised. In fact, he says that in like episode 3 of season 1. My armor's been compromised. But see, it got compromised by physical damage, which blaster fire is actually physical damage in the Star Wars universe because it's energized gas particles, not light. They're not laser.
And you think it would?
Yeah. But it can be compromised, but it's hard. It's like diamonds. How many times do you have to stab a diamond with a knife for it to start cracking? How many times do you have to shoot a diamond with a gun, right? Like if it's not of a certain caliber of force hitting the diamond, it's not going to do anything, no matter how many times it happens.
I agree.
So Beskar Steel is kind of like that.
But Okay, so that black sword that Homeboy's got, if when he hits
The dark saber, yes,
yeah,
yes.
dark saber. Listen, I like slang. Okay, don't be technical on me. Let me be slang. You're Mister. You're
But
Mister.
it's really cool. I mean, it's a very special lightsaber.
The special effects on it kind of suck. Can we be honest?
Well, it's hard to do a glowing black blade.
Listen, they should have thought about that before they did it. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Well,
like
when
they're-
they originally did it, it was in an animated series, and it
no,
worked a
I
lot
know.
better.
Until they're like, hey, we're gonna break this out. Okay, get the green screen out. Let's do the best we can. Like, ooh, okay, this shouldn't be the plot we go with.
Yeah.
No,
But also like the color black, like true black, looks weird to our eyes. Like there's different car companies that have played with black paint here in our world, and it's like non-reflective black paint, and like it looks weird, like because it starts looking like nothing. Because we're used to seeing like black as a color, but there's like some sheen to it, some dimension to it, something. But when it's like a void, it looks weird.
way tips to the stealth bomber. You probably shouldn't be doing that.
That's
I mean, that's what it sounds like you're going down here. Like,
no. I'm just saying it looks weird
Yep.
when like certain black objects look weird.
how you know about the development of the stealth bomber? I do not want to know, Kyle. I'm sorry. Okay? I don't wanna know.
It was a BMW car.
Yeah, but so the sword when he hits the Mandalorian armor, what happens?
Wait, did he hit the Mandalorian with the dark saber?
Not to know of, but when he
Okay, I didn't think so.
when he does, what happens?
When he does, that's gonna be a real unstoppable object, or unstoppable force meets an immovable object moment. Of course, those cannot exist in the same universe, but I think you're gonna get what you have in Return of the Jedi. Wait, does Luke actually hit Boba Fett with lightsaber?
I thought we were gonna get Captain America hits the
The Thor hammer.
Thor hammer on the shield. I thought that's however that worked out. No, yeah. Thor hits the hammer on Captain America's shield. That's what I thought we were gonna get. Like,
And we saw there that the immovable object beat the unstoppable force,
yes.
right? Which generally that makes sense, just with the laws of Newtonian physics.
Again,
the
on my pay grade.
immovable object will beat the unstoppable force because it takes less energy to stand still than it does to move.
Which is why that's a different story.
Yeah, but no, I think what you're going to get is it will be able to last a couple of times, and then it's going to start cutting through his armor. I think that's what we're going to see, is that it will hold up a little bit, but that's when it's really going to get compromised.
And what do you think was going on at the end of the episode when he's looking at those Borg-like TIE fighter suits in the hangar?
Oh, those. So I think that he is looking for. I think that Moff Gideon, that's the he we're talking about, is creating some super soldiers. I think that he is trying to create super soldiers, and that these are the super soldier suits that he's going with, and I think that that's what he's preparing for.
And Ahsoka's going to kill them all.
Quite possibly, her and Mando are going to team up to kill them all.
Baby Yoda. So we did have like a weekly prediction. So like each week we can just predict what we think is going to happen. And of course it will range wildly. Like I was early on about Yoda being a Palpatine and I'm already off that. So like, I will hold this to you when you get it wrong. When you get it right, I will completely ignore it. So just be ready.
So just for next week or like way in the future? How far are we looking?
You spin it however you want to. It's your show.
Okay. So Baby Yoda, during the big showdown between Moff Gideon and Ahsoka Tano, the child, and Jin Djarin, I think that Baby Yoda is mostly going to be helpless and like not doing much, but then him and Ahsoka will team up. Like she'll be like really under the gun with something, and like and he's gonna like come to her aid in some manner.
Force lightning. If you blast force lightning, this might be worth it.
If he does, like I could see where like she's got a lightsaber and she's up against the dark saber, and Mando's having a shootout with the super soldiers, and then like she's about to get whacked, killed, and then Yoda's just like and just like Gideon gets electrified, though it's probably going to hit the lightsaber, but still like affect him. And then like 4 of the soldiers just like boom. And I know those sound effects make for great radio. My apologies to everybody listening.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think that he will mostly be helpless, but at some critical moment come to the aid of
Will
his friend.
Moff Gideon be over after this season?
Ooh, will Moff Gideon? No, I don't think so.
He's such an irrelevant villain. Like, you got to give me more.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think he'll be over at the end of this season. He's not. We'll see if he plays a more present role this season than he did last season. He wasn't around too much. One thing that is surprising to me and a little disappointing actually is how many women are showing up in the Empire in different storylines at this time. We got a new one in the comics. That's a big deal. And just generally the Empire, one of the big differences between the Empire and the Rebellion and the Empire and the Republic and everything was that the Empire didn't want women in its ranks. And so it was a very, misogynistic, bigoted. They didn't like having aliens as officers. That's why, like, Thrawn, 1, he was humanoid, so that helped him. But 2, he had to be the best, right? And then that's why I was so excited about Phasma with episode 7, because, like, a woman becoming captain and, like, being in charge of things, like, that was a big deal. But now we're just seeing these women everywhere in the Empire serving in officer roles and everything. I'm like, oh, it makes Phasma less special. I know she's First Order, not Empire, but one begat the other. So I don't know. I didn't really go anywhere with that, but it's something that was on my mind this week, and I was upset about it.
Well, get it off your chest. This is your time.
Thank you. I feel better now.
Yeah, good. I would say this: the fact that Harry Bosch was going to take the ship down a few weeks back is still bugging me to this day. Harry Bosch would do that. He would fight to the end. But in all seriousness, I don't. Moff Gideon, his big moment of all the episodes we've seen him is cutting out of the TIE fighter. That's it. With the black saber. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of troops. He's got a lot of power. Is he a skilled fighter? I mean, if he's got the black saber, I'm assuming so, but I ain't seen him. So
maybe I've got questions about his chess piece now, though.
Yeah. And so I just I don't know. I don't know. You got to give me more. Like, if they had an episode devoted to him doing something that had nothing to do with Mando, like it was indirectly tied to Mando. It was like, he's over here and he's blowing up a planet, or he's, going Thanos and killing a bunch of villagers or something like that. Like, something to kind of set the tone for, I don't know, like, you get the feeling to get the child. I'll give you this. If you go back to last season, they kind of painted him like he was just waxing his own guys out there in front of Mandalorian. If you remember the scene with the storm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, you go. No, you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, well, now he's over here killing this guy for interrupting him and this, that, and the other. And it was
that part. Yeah, got it.
It was more comic relief. Like, you didn't really get, like, even those guys were like, well, I don't want to go, but it wasn't like they didn't want to go because they didn't want to get whacked, obviously, but they weren't trembling with fear, like, oh my God, he's back at it again. Like, oh man, it was more comic relief. Like, oh, here he goes again. As long as you just kind of avoid him, you're not really in danger.
Have you seen the Star Wars Lego Holiday Special?
No.
Okay. There's a moment where they're making fun of Kylo Ren's temper tantrums. That I think captures it very well. So spoiler alert there. And Ryan likes spoilers, for anyone who doesn't know Ryan.
I do. Please email me all your spoilers for everything.
When choosing between saving her son or her daughter, she saves her son. And for everyone who got that reference as to what choice I'm talking about a woman having to make, please drop the name of that movie in the comments for Ryan so he gets the context in case he didn't pick up that random reference.
Yes. Well, two of you at this point watching, please He's good.
Yeah. So yeah, like, but they're making fun of it because like in the sequels trilogy, you do see like Kylo goes on a rampage and people are just like, oh no, like go to the other hallway, just like get out of the room.
Right. So
And yeah, you did not see that here.
yeah, and so I'm saying like I don't like as the viewer. Okay, he's got power. He's got stormtroopers. They may or may not hit anybody. So it's like, I need to see him kill a planet or two before I'm really like, okay, yeah, he's a because Mando has walked down stormtroopers blasting him. So I need to see something from him that kind of makes me believe that I believe he's willing to go to the lengths to do it, but I don't believe he necessarily has the skill to do it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And because also like I feel like this is the Empire's B team. Okay, now that is shaded a bit by like the Heir to the Empire book series, which is all legends and everything. But basically, after the Emperor dies and the Empire gets disbanded and goes into these warlords, it wasn't, it's not Tarkin in control. It's not even Admiral Mahdi in control. These are the people that were like,
too soon.
I'm sorry. But these are like the people in control, like a Star Destroyer and a squadron, like trying to be the tough guy now. And I kind of get that feeling from him, especially with like how, this Imperial base on Nevarro was a nerd base, right? It's the science lab. But also, how come Mando can take out stormtroopers in like one shot, like bah, 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 while he's flying, taking out moving targets? But he's got two scientists standing still behind a control panel, trying to punch keys, and they're missing them until they have a chance to blow up the control panel and destroy most of the evidence that they're looking for. I guess because you have to progress the storyline, right? Episode 4 would be a lot less exciting if they're like, get them, and then the stormtroopers killed Luke, and then we were just like, okay, he's dead.
Why not have them radio ahead? Hey, we're under attack, and then they smash it, and then by the time they get there, it's already ruined. Like that's simple enough. Because
that would have been better.
Blue guy did in 30 seconds.
Ryan is open to consulting on the Mandalorian project. Just if anybody at Lucasfilm is listening,
and then the blue guy fixed it in 30 seconds. So, I mean, seriously, right?
Yes.
Like, it's broken. Fix it. What? Fix it. Oh, it's fixed. It's like, like this whole scene was nothing.
He did it from the side that didn't get shot. He did it from the side where the dead body laid on top of it instead of the guy shooting it. So
yeah, and I think it's those kind of things that make me wonder. I think Mandalorian season 1 really was I think we talked about this offline, but it was really a reaction against fans not liking 789, and so they just bit hard on Mandalorian. I think if without 789, if this was the first ever Lucasfilm Star Wars product, I think they would be in trouble. I think people would be like, oh my gosh, this is what you're doing with Star Wars? You're bringing in Baby Yoda? How dare you? Yoda couldn't do this, Mandalorian, Boba Fett's back. I think people would be pretty outraged because it's pretty sloppy.
They would, but then you have people like, did you watch Parks and Rec?
No.
Okay. So there's one scene where Patton Oswalt's character is filibustering a city council meeting, and he does so by laying out his plot for Star Wars Episode 7, beginning with the rise of Boba Fett from the pit of Carcoon. And so I do think you have a segment of Star Wars fans that do want that story.
Well,
I think we're getting it. I think we're going to get a Boba Fett story soon.
Yeah, I know the Boba Fett's probably a bad example. People might be okay with that. But generally speaking, Baby Yoda, Mandalorian, Force, I don't think this. I think if this was the first ever Lucasfilm product coming out of the purchase, I do not think it'd be received very well. I think it'd be received. If you remember, Episode 7 was received pretty well by the fans. It wasn't until Episode 8 that things came off the wheels.
Well, it was received, and not trying to gatekeep here, but a movie gets a lot more new fans and fair weather fans and not mediocre fans, but like casual fans. And I've got nothing against somebody being a casual fan. I'm a casual fan of like Harry Potter. Don't love it, but I like it. I'll watch it if it's on. My wife reads the books. I don't mind the audiobooks, but I don't pursue Harry Potter, right? So I have no problem with casual fandom. But it is a whole lot easier to garner casual fans of a movie series than of a TV series. And so I think I think that had Mandalorian been the first post Disney acquisition Lucasfilm market proc to go to market, you would have a lot more long time fans watching the show and a lot fewer newer fans. But I think now you have a very large segment of fandom that are new fans that, don't remember calling their dad at night the first time they saw Star Wars on TV because he had been watching Star Trek and then realized he was wasting his life. And or sitting in a car outside of Phoenix in the middle of the desert watching a drive-in movie replay of Empire Strikes Back. Like, that's not the fan.
That's right.
That's not the majority of fans anymore. Seth Green is no longer the stereotypical Star Wars fan, right?
True. And so I don't think Mandalorian would capture them.
It would not capture the new fans as well as the movie did, but because we had the movies, we now have a bunch of new fans, and the Mandalorian is fully satisfying them. And also, for the record, I like the Mandalorian. I plan on continuing to watch it even after Ryan stops.
I plan on doing this show as long as you'll have me. I'm honored to do your show as a recurring guest, so that's nice.
Yes.
I hope one day to attain to co-host status, but recurring.
You are the co-host.
No, recurring guest. That's what I like.
If that's the credit you want, that's the credit you get.
Okay, I wanted host, but you wouldn't give it to me, so whatever. But no, I have a love-hate relationship with it, really, because I think whenever we talked about this an hour and a half ago, we started all this. The subplot line versus the main line, and trying to weave that together. I think there's a lot of value there. I think the Clone Wars TV show shows you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
To do it, you have to who's the pirate guy with the hat? I can't think of his name on top of my head right now. He's kind of got the respirator. He's blue. Are
you talking about Cad Bane, the bounty hunter?
Yeah,
okay.
Bounty hunter. Sorry, bounty hunter. But he tames it with the pirates and all that stuff. But Cad Bane, I like the Cad Bane episodes. And
he was great. I wish they did more with him.
Right. Okay. But he's never in the movies. But he becomes a character that you'd like to see come back, and he's reoccurring. And so because he's one off from the main line, and you understand now how this ties into the main line, does his story impact the main line or not? I can't remember any of the episodes actually impacting the mainline story, but it's close enough where you feel like, okay, this is what's going on on Coruscant or the Jedi Council when we're not watching them in between 2 and 3.
To me, it really makes you question episode 2 a lot more. Like, man, why were the Jedi not already watching Padme? But I guess because Clone Wars happens after episode 2. That makes sense now.
Yes.
Sorry, brain fart. Right. Please continue.
Yes. And so with this, it's we're holding the main line at not arm's length, a little bit further than that, and so, but when you bring Ahsoka in, she's not mainline, but she's Clone Wars, and Clone Wars is arm's length from mainline, and so it's like, okay, are we going in that direction? I just don't have any direction, and that's for me and you and someone else has told me just kind of watch it week by week and don't really kind of project on where it's going. It's like, okay, that's fine, but if that's all it is, then I know what it is. It's Mando's going to fight someone. Mando's going to win every week. If that's all it is, then I can record next week's episode with you already. Mando's going to fight someone. Mando's going to win. At least when they stole the child, there is some tension. So, I just don't think it's as well put together, maybe as some of the more prominent fans of the show were saying. And I feel like they're saying that because they're so mad at Kathleen Kennedy. they're so mad at 789. I don't think they know where they're going. I don't think they have it all thought out on this one. And I think that 3 seasons from now, we're like, what are they doing? You know?
Well, I'm not even sure that because the Mandalorian may not be the same Mandalorian the entire series. I know we talked about this offline, but there has been rumor of Pedro Pascal not being happy with how often his face gets shown or how little his face gets shown in the series, and basically being a voiceover gig for him. And I had read that one of the stunt doubles, I think Brandon Wayne, John Wayne's grandson, had even more screen time than Pedro Pascal in the first season.
Listen, I'll do the voiceover for next season. I won't show up on set. I'll sit right here. I'll read it into the mic. You can get some rip dude to do it. I'm good with that.
Right? Like I would do that every time. Or I could be the guy in the suit that gets no lines. I'm fine with that also. Ray Park was going to be fine with that and worked out really well for him.
Yeah, they're like a Fatalorian, then I could do it. I'm too thick, like the armor wouldn't fit. Like it'd be like my gut would be sticking out beneath the plates. So
okay, so that is a problem in the 501st. Okay, the 501st, the fan club, not the Star Wars entity, but the fan club. There was a little bit of time, and I'm not a member of the 501st, so this is all secondhand info. So my apologies to everyone I'm about to offend. Please leave a comment.
Kyle.
Yes, give me the hate mail. Yes, let the hate flow through you. That because the outfits that the 501st required had to be so movie accurate and story accurate and high quality that like larger guys had to be like the Rancor trainer from Return. Like they couldn't be stormtroopers and Mandalorians and everything because they weren't in the right shape. And I was like,
you know what? Listen, I couldn't be a stormtrooper at the shape I'm in now, and that's the deal. Okay, so if I want a stormtrooper, I gotta lose 5 pounds, and so and then I can fit in the thing. It's but I don't have a problem with that. But I know what you're saying. So
yeah. Where I was going with that was I think that they may get rid of Djarin as the Mandalorian, and maybe he'll get replaced by Sabine Wren for season 3. I don't know. If we're getting Ahsoka, and according to the last episode of Rebels, Ahsoka and Sabine are together after the Battle of Endor, looking for Space Aladdin. So, maybe she comes in, and maybe she becomes the new Mandalorian that we're thinking about, and that's how we tie back to Bo-Katan.
So let me ask you this. I know it's getting probably time to wrap this up.
Yeah, sorry.
No. This is lovely. It's lovely.
I was apologizing to everybody else.
Oh, yes, we are sorry. Yanni Landers. We'll figure that out and give it back to you. The payoff will be worth it. Trust me. God, that's so good that night.
Yes.
Him drinking the milk scene. Like, to me, those scenes, what are they trying to add? I don't even understand it.
The kid?
No, the adult. The Mandalorian.
Oh, where like he lifts up his helmet and he drinks?
Like what? Like I don't even like.
I think they're trying to answer the question of like, how does he eat if he's never allowed to take his helmet off? Like we got to see that in one episode of season 1, which was way risky. He took his helmet off and like
nobody was looking at his life.
Yeah, like somebody could have turned around and seen him. He was standing in front of a window when he took it off.
Well, and there's camera crew everywhere. Okay.
Like, the camera crew does not exist in that universe.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they're on the outside of walls.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they were just trying to answer the question of like, he's he does that, or maybe they're trying to show that he's losing his faith, right? Because he is a subsect of the Mandalorian culture.
Yeah, I wondered if that might be because there is a scene in season 1, maybe season 2, where he wakes up from the sleep and he has the mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so you're like, really? Like he's that serious about it? And you're like, well, if you can't be seen, someone could bust into you. And so to me, they've almost overstated the likelihood that someone would be that dedicated because listen, you ain't sleeping that helmet every night. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's bad enough just wearing a cloth face mask.
Well, for those of you who do wear one, which includes me, wear mask responsibly. Okay, I don't wear one.
Yeah.
But I have worn one.
They were never like, go Power Rangers, it's time for bed. Like, it was.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, like, to me, that's where, like, it would make more sense if he had, he slept in a room and the door was locked, like really locked. Like, we try to get in, like, yeah, you can't get in because you can't see the mask. Like, that would make more sense. Or, the few times he's sleeping out on the, when they're out, they're trekking across the wilderness. Okay, you can make it really cold. Makes sense to keep the helmet on, something like that. Or he goes into a tent and he says, if you come here, I will kill you. Like, no. I will literally kill you if you see me. I will murder you. Like, I think there's ways to do it, but they've almost overstated the mask thing so much.
But he's got the kid. The kid can't see him without the mask on.
No, I understand. But I'm saying that the scene, like with him waking up and stuff, like they put it to where now either A, like you said, maybe he's losing faith, or B, they're trying to show you how he functions. It's like, well, they set it up in such a manner that they have to do this now. And so, it just didn't add anything to me, unless it is like he's losing faith in the Mandalorian stuff, which is fine. I don't care about that. That doesn't really, that doesn't, if he does take the helmet off, does it change it for you?
No, I mean, I think that would show growth of the character if he's able to take it off. As far as making it a better story, no, I like the fact that you don't see his face. I never saw Boba Fett's face, and I thought he was awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it.
They're just showing him too much is the problem.
Yes, yeah. Because Boba Fett had something like 8 minutes of screen time in between episodes 5 and 6.
Right. And so, you're with the Mandalorian. I mean, the Mandalorian, I mean, I'm assuming he's a normal man, so he's got to go number 2 at some point. And like, okay, he leaves the helmet on, he goes in there. Yeah. It's like, okay, you've taken it a little too far here with this.
He takes off all his armor. And he has to strip naked like a 3-year-old potty train.
It's like that old episode of Family Guy. They had one where Darth Vader was working at a bank, and some dude comes in there and just chews Darth Vader out. And there's a scene with him. He's got his hand up on the shower. The water's just pouring over his head, and he got his mask on. Everything else, he's just stripped down. And I'm sorry. Okay.
Nice.
Anyways, that's my last Star Wars reference tonight. So Kyle, in the meantime, sorry, this is your show. Let me step back as a recurring guest here.
I'm good. I liked where you were going with that.
Where can people find you until we record another lovely edition of Hey Mando?
Sure. Like I said, I'm outside of Houston, so there's a starting place.
Yeah, it's like Nevarro. It's very small.
And let's see. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the Kyle Souza. I'm on LinkedIn somewhere. I think also the Kyle Souza on LinkedIn. I'm on what's that other one? Oh, my blog, thetalkinggeek.com. That's the one. And then I've got this podcast, and I've got other podcasts that I try to maintain and mostly fail at. So check it out on Spreaker or wherever fine podcasts are sold.
Well, because I'm a communist, I will send you to iTunes, and you just search my name, Ryan Ray, RYENRAY. You can find this podcast and all my other podcasts there.
Please subscribe. If you're listening to this, subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching it, subscribe to Ryan's YouTube channel. Leave some ratings, some reviews.
If you hate it, we understand. We don't need the 1 stars. We already know that. The few who love this, why? Like why? Like help us understand why.
Yes. I'll have to explain to my wife why I'm continuing to do this. So that will help.
Yes. So there you go. So okay, go. That's all I've got.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for talking with me tonight.
I'm glad we're doing this again. I really am.
I'm glad we're doing it too. And I know over the last hour we talked for 10 minutes about season 2, episode 4, but it was all enjoyable for me.
We talked about it a lot. I thought we broke down
we talked a lot about Star Wars episode 4, A New Hope also.
Well, hold on. We broke down Nevarro and how small the planet was. We talked about the school laws there, or lack thereof, the daylight time in Nevarro, the chase, and we talked about we pulled up the clip. We broke down that Yoda's not a Palpatine. We can, you know what? Just cut the tape. We'll start over.
No. This is golden. This is what the people want to hear. They have voted with their likes on YouTube.
The
Yeah,
person. I don't know for the people yet. The person likes to hear.
the person. Well, I've got 3 YouTube accounts, so there's at least 3 coming.
Okay, well, how do you sign us off here, Kyle?
Thank you everyone for listening. You're awesome. May the force be with you.
Hey, Mando.